Hey everyone, welcome again to our On the Block show. I'm Przemysław Koper CEO at Espeo Software, and today I'd like to give you a bit of the summary and highlights of 2025 and how I see the outlook for 2026, both in terms of the business, technology, markets that we operate in, and our organizational changes that I believe were highly interesting. What happened inside Espeo last year and what's about to happen in 2026. Let's start. First of all, let's give it a bit of the market perspective. Last year was really interesting because there was a definite shift in what happened, specifically in investment. If you look at investments in fintech, so the market domains where we operate in, for the past few years, there was a clear decline. So we had less and less investments in the projects that we previously focused on, and we kept on developing. Last year was different. For the first time in a few years, we actually noted a 20% growth year on year when it comes to investments in the fintech projects globally. At the same time, number of deals, number of projects on the market declined. So as a result, we have less projects on the market that are of a higher value. And we can definitely see that among our customers because the scale of the projects is actually much bigger than in the past. We have been working on a few projects that are evaluated in millions and planned for the next years to come. And we can see, of course, some POCs or MVPs on the market. We have been working on these last year, but definitely the amount of these smaller projects was much lower than in the previous years. So I see this as a natural maturity of the market in the fintech's domain that translates into how the projects look like these days. When it comes to fintechs itself, we can see a 50% growth in investments, specifically in stablecoins. We can see also around 50% growth in the wallets markets. And one of the mostly discussed topics in the markets where we operate in is tokenization. And tokenization is growing like crazy. In other projects that we are discussing with our potential customers, projects that we are already consulting are around tokenization and especially tokenization of real world assets. Definitely, one of the biggest forces on the market is AI. And we can also see that on the execution side. So there's a 40% growth in funding for AI-related projects globally on the market. And among our customers, we have been working on some really, really interesting projects, starting in Switzerland, going through US and up to Asia. And most of these projects are actually in the big scale, which is really interesting because at the same time, we see something that we haven't seen for years on the market. We have been working on several internal projects that aim for efficiency boost in our operations, in our processes, using AI LLMs, building multi-LLMs systems, just simply to make our internal ops more efficient. And then we ended up actually selling those products to our customers. It happened a few times. So something that actually started small, that was developed in a really short time span, ended up as a product that we are currently developing with other customers. We haven't seen that in years. That's really interesting. And when it comes to AI technologies itself, we have made a significant progress in how we actually work with this tech. We made sure to structurize, to standardize our approach in AI. Last year, we have built an AI policy and AI strategy. And these are not only documents. This is the way our company operates on a daily basis. For the AI strategy and directions, there are 3 points that we focus on. The first one is we want to deliver as much value as possible to the customer in the shortest possible time. And that goes to POCs, that goes to consulting works. And we have actually proven this several times in the last year consulting for our customers. The other point is efficiency boost in our operations. So we have been able to deliver much faster. I'm talking about the end-to-end system delivery from our side to our customers. We are much more efficient than last year. We actually have several indicators to measure that progress, and it grows quarter by quarter, which is great. And the third one is measurable, data-driven decision making. So gut feeling is great, and I still believe in that. But in many processes, in many projects, especially when it comes to strategic ones, we actually base on data. And these three things are the core of our daily operations, of how we actually operate inside the company. Last year at Espeo Software, we have also implemented the new evaluation policy. And here there are a few elements, how we actually evaluate our talent and how we make sure the people that work at Espeo can grow and develop for the next years. The first thing is commitment, and we actually make it measurable. So there is a system in place that actually scores your performance of how committed you are. We have the definition of commitment, and we have different levels that are measured throughout the quarters. Then the other thing is our values. We have 4 values at the company, and we have a mechanism to actually calculate, to evaluate how perfect fit, how well you are fitted within the organization. So is the part of how you work also in line with how we want it to be. Then there's, of course, hard goals. So there is a system in place that calculates, that scores how well you delivered your goals. So this is the end result of your work. And of course, the fourth thing is the mentioned AI strategy and AI policy. You actually gather points in all these 4 categories, and it translates to the score at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, and it allows you to get on the path to get a promotion or to get a salary raise. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I believe it's very much in line with the current market. It's where we need consultative approach, where all of us are actually the face to the customer, where all of us need to think about the end goal and think about the tasks and the projects that we are involved in end to end. So we still need to focus on the end result. Actually, the next one, we have an anniversary of implementation of our AI strategy and AI policy, and there will be a separate episode about it. So watch out. And when it comes to the 2025 on our software market, definitely there are some strong forces working in this domain. So the first thing is, if you look across the industry, agencies that actually state as generic agencies, they do really struggle. So we have been talking about this in the industry for years, but there is actually a living proof now that the specific agencies that stayed focused and invested in their niche solutions, it might be like geography wise, it might be technology wise, or domain wise, these companies are actually thriving right now. We are happy to say that a few years ago, we decided to stay on the path and work for financial institutions, to work within the financial technologies, because that's also very important. We don't only focus on the financial like services industry or fintechs. We call these financial technologies because we actually do work for different industries, different domains. Like we also have clients in logistics, in media sector, in healthcare. However, we do work with the financial technologies. Everywhere there is money movement involved, transactions, payments, micropayments when it comes to media industry, or basically anything related to finance, that's where we step in. So it's not really about the industry itself. It's not vertical, it's horizontal. So we work within the financial technologies. Then when it comes to the technology itself, we keep on focusing on blockchain technology. We are still working intensively. We are still developing. Our investment in Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust, LFDT, and Hyperledger open source products, technologies that are developed under the foundation. We actually run European chapter for the foundation, which is very successful. We have wonderful guests every month on our events. We had C-level executives from Central Bank of Germany, of Spain, wonderful specialists around Europe, driving our monthly meetings. We actually, 1 hour is never enough, so we always stay longer because there are some really lively discussions. So I highly invite you to join one of our monthly meetups. And actually, the group of companies invested in this open source, which, by the way, on the permissioned blockchain market is still number one around the world. It's mostly used. And there are only 12 companies around the world that are currently certified service providers for this open source, and Espeo Software is one of them. There are only 2 in Europe. So we definitely keep on investing in that technology, and we keep on developing our talent inside Espeo to be able to drive these projects. And actually, when I look at last year, we have won 8 new customers, which translated to 12 new projects. And 7 of these were actually built on Hyperledger Fabric, which is an open source tech that we keep on develop and work with LFDT to make it even better. That makes me really happy. And the third thing when it comes to successful agency on the current market is definitely consulting. If you look at software agencies, they mostly tell you that you would meet with the consultant. And in most cases, you will meet with software developer. Actually, consulting is a separate unit at Espeo Software. So there are people working with us that are ex-founders, and they have specific niches that they are experts in. For example, we have one senior solutions and strategy consultant working specifically in the blockchain projects. We have one working specifically in AI, and both of them actually run their successful startups in the past. Successful, or sometimes they also failed in delivering these startups, which are also great and interesting experiences when advising our customers. So we have a variety of people here from different backgrounds, industries. We have also external partners that are actually, most of them are C-level executives at banks, at financial institutions, at insurances or accounting companies, and they work with us on the project basis. So we have a great network of consultants here. So these 3 things, so coming back to domain knowledge, coming back to specific and niche technologies, and consultative approach, these are the things that actually make the agency great at the current market. And we can definitely see that these decisions to actually focus on these 3 pillars works out for Espeo, and I'm happy to report that we are growing. We're looking at the very interesting scaling projects in 2026. And that actually directly translates into who we would be looking for in 2026. We've actually built a new talent acquisition strategy, and we very much focus on the soft skills. We are looking for people that think complexly, that are able to see the end result of their works. So we don't need people that do repetitive work. We need people that are consultants at their core, whether it's for sales roles, whether it's consulting roles, or even our back office. So we are looking for people that are not afraid of using technology, scaling their work beyond their actual working hours by using technology, by using AI. And this comes out great. So pretty much all the hires that we did last year were perfect match, and we continued that direction. So if at some point there is a role at Espeo that fits your dreams about your career next, if you're that person, if you're curious, if you're honest, if you're AI driven, if you think creatively, we are definitely looking for you. So by the way, please check our careers site. Also, when I'm looking at my role as a CEO of the agency and how this might look like in 2026 and so on, I can see, first of all, leadership is the most important thing. So I definitely need to make sure, first of all, that we hire the right people that I just mentioned. Then I need to make sure that these people stay driven, engaged, and that all the time, at all the steps, they actually understand the direction where we are going to. And to do that, I have also standardized this area. We have implemented a handbook. It's a guide for every new and existing collaborator at Espeo that states our main goals, directions, how we want to operate, that states our values and our evaluation system. So what's actually valued on the way to achieve our goals and so on. All the basic information that you need to understand to be a part of Espeo. The second thing is actually client facing. So I can see more and more need to actually be one of the consultants for our clients. And I take part in different consulting projects with our customers. So I think there is a big value in that. I learn a lot and I can also share my experience and knowledge while working with customers. They highly appreciate it. And I think that's definitely a trend and direction where I personally will be going to. In general, I believe 2026 is definitely a different year than the previous ones. I know that it's a year of growth. I know that it's a year of growth in terms of the big projects that we're working on. It's a year for growth for AI technologies, for blockchain technologies. And when it comes to use cases, definitely like wallets, definitely tokenization for real world assets. And when it comes to the markets, I can see the biggest chances currently in the GCC region that we are definitely and intensively exploring with our teams. I highly invite you to see the podcast that I just did with my colleague Ada about the GCC. It's full of information about the region in terms of business, technology, culture. It's very interesting. And Asia in general, we are also exploring that field as well. When it comes to Europe, we definitely keep on working with our current customers in Finland, Switzerland, in the UK. We see a lot of movement in the US. However, again, like the projects that actually close very fast and that are actually happening mostly happen in the GCC region, which is also a twist for us. And it's very, very interesting. 2026 will be great. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked it. Please do comment and let me know if you would like to explore anything about the markets, about the business technology, or Espeo software itself. Take care and see you in the next one.